This woman spent 9 months at the heart of the Islamic State group before returning home. Laura Passoni fled the clutches of the extremists in March 2015 with her 4-year-old son.
I realised that I didn't want my son to become like them. I didn't want to lose my son. I told myself that sooner or later they were going to take him. He wouldn't be my son anymore, he'd be theirs. And in that moment I thought, he's my little boy. I don't want him to become a terrorist.
The story that she tells in her book is that of her conversion, of her radicalisation, and of her departure for Syria with her husband and son in June 2014. She met her husband, Osama, while both were working at a supermarket in Belgium. She agreed to travel with him to Syria. On her arrival, she says she was charmed by the Islamic State group men.
They said they were heroes. They said they'd abandoned their livelihoods to defend the Syrian people. So when I saw them, I admired them because I really thought they were heroes who were there to save people.
Her husband soon left for a training camp. Laura first lived in Raqqa, then in Al-Bab, but was never allowed outside.
I spent my days shut in a room, cooking and praying, that's all. I used to have a life. I worked, I went out. I couldn't stand being trapped like an animal. It wasn't normal. We were only there to procreate so they can continue to exist. We were there only for that.
Soon she learned how to live under the bombs.
When there were bombs, I held my son close to me and we counted those bombs. If we counted 5 and we were still alive, we would live to see the next day. But there were these women who were filled with hatred, who were only there to die. I didn't want my son to die, and I didn't want to die.
Passoni also discovered the punishments meted out by the Islamic State group against those they considered traitors.
We saw crucified bodies. They killed people, then put them on public display. My first reflex was to hide my son's eyes.
Islamic State group members tried to get the 4-year-old boy involved. You write that one day a man came with a teddy bear and a plastic knife and said that your son had to start learning how to cut throats.
He did it, but he said, "Mummy, I didn't want to. It was my teddy. I didn't want to. It was my favorite." I was very proud of him right then.
After 2 attempts to flee, she finally managed to leave with her husband and her son to meet up with her parents waiting for her on the Turkish border. On returning to Belgium, Osama was sent to prison for 4 years and Laura got a 3 years probation for aiding and abetting a terrorist group.
This book shows that I've rejected them and I don't want other people to make the same mistake I did. If my experience can save just one person, it will have been worth it.
Passoni now says she will dedicate her time to touring schools to warn others about the dangerous seduction and the traps laid by the Islamic State group.